The stars looked cold through the window of the small trading ship, sat alone in the pilot's seat and watched them pass by one after another. He had been traveling for 6 months now. 6 long months without hearing another voice. 6 months of silence, cold food, and empty nights. His ship was old but reliable. It had belonged to his father before him and his grandfather before that. The name painted on the side said Blue Wind in faded letters. Loved this ship, but he hated how lonely it made him feel. Today was different, though. Today he could see station growing larger in his window. It was a massive structure floating in the darkness of space. Thousands of lights blinked from its surface like a city in the sky. Ships of all sizes moved around it like fish swimming near a reef. Felt his heart beat faster. He needed this stop, not for fuel or food or repairs. He needed it for something more basic. He needed to talk to someone. He needed to feel like a person again instead of just a machine moving through space. The docking process took 30 minutes. Filled out the forms, paid the fees, and walked through the security gates. The inside of the station was busy and loud. Aliens of many different species walked past him. Some were tall with blue skin. Others were short with too many eyes. A few looked almost human but not quite. Was human. One of the few humans who traveled this far from Earth. Most humans stayed close to their home system. They were afraid of the unknown, afraid of the aliens, afraid of the dark spaces between stars, but was different. He had nothing to be afraid of because he had nothing to lose. He walked through the market district first. Vendors called out to him in languages he did not understand. Strange smells filled the air. Some were sweet, some were sour, and some made his nose burn. He bought a small meal from a cart and ate it while walking. It tasted strange but not bad. As the station's artificial night began to fall, found himself standing outside a building with soft purple lights. A sign above the door showed symbols he could not read, but he knew what this place was. Everyone knew about places like this on space stations. They were lounges where lonely travelers could find company for a price. Hesitated. He had never done this before. Back on Earth, he had been too shy to talk to women. In space, he rarely met anyone at all. But tonight, something pushed him forward. Maybe it was the loneliness. Maybe it was the 6 months of silence pressing down on his chest. He walked inside. The lounge was warm and dim. Soft music played from somewhere he could not see. The furniture was comfortable and clean. A large alien with gray skin stood behind a counter and watched approach. "Human," the alien said. Its voice was deep like thunder. "We do not see many of your kind here." "I am just looking for some company," said. His voice sounded small in his own ears. "Someone to talk to, that is all." The gray alien studied him for a long moment. Then it nodded slowly. "We have 2 who might interest you," it said. "They are new here. They come from a world called Sierra Prime. Their species is called, they are curious about humans." Felt nervous but nodded. "I would like to meet them." The gray alien pressed a button on the counter. A door on the far wall opened, and 2 figures walked out. Forgot how to breathe. They were beautiful in a way he had never seen before. Their skin was pale purple, smooth like silk. Their eyes were large and silver, reflecting the dim lights of the lounge. Their hair was white and long, falling past their shoulders like waterfalls of snow. They were tall, almost as tall as, and they moved with a grace that made them seem like they were floating. One of them smiled at. Her smile was gentle and warm. "Hello," she said. Her voice was soft and musical. "My name is Lyra." "And I am Neva," the other one said. Her voice was slightly deeper but just as pleasant. "You are human, yes. We have never met a human before." Swallowed hard and found his voice. "Yes, I am a trader. I travel alone." Lyra tilted her head to one side. "You travel alone? That sounds very sad." "It is," admitted. He did not know why he was being so honest. "It is very sad sometimes." Neva looked at her companion, and something passed between them. some kind of silent communication that could not understand. "Come," Lyra said, holding out her hand. "Let us go somewhere quiet, we can talk there." Looked at the gray alien behind the counter. It told him the price for one night. The number was high, almost half of what had earned in the last month, but he did not care. He paid without question. Lyra took his left hand. Neva took his right. Their skin was cool against his, but not cold. It felt nice. It felt like coming home after a long journey. They led him through the door and down a hallway. The walls were decorated with soft fabrics in colors of blue and gold. At the end of the hallway was a room with a large window that looked out at the stars. Inside the room was a comfortable sitting area with cushions on the floor. A low table held drinks in crystal glasses. Everything was designed to make guests feel relaxed. Sat down on one of the cushions. Lyra sat on his left side. Neva sat on his right. They were close to him, close enough that he could smell something sweet coming from their skin. It reminded him of flowers from Earth, flowers he had not seen in years. "Tell us about yourself," Neva said. "Tell us about humans." Laugh softly. "I do not know what to say. Humans are just humans. We are nothing special." Lyra shook her head. "That is not true. We have heard stories about humans. They say your species is very emotional. They say you feel things more strongly than other species. Is this true?" Thought about this. He thought about the loneliness that had been crushing him for months. He thought about the joy he felt when he saw his mother smile. He thought about the pain he felt when his father died. "Yes," he said quietly. "I think it is true. We feel everything very strongly." Neva leaned closer to him. Her silver eyes studied his face with intense curiosity. "Show us," she whispered. "Show us what human emotions feel like." Did not understand what she meant, but as the night went on, he would begin to understand. He would understand that these two alien women were searching for something, something they could not find among their own kind, something that only a human could give them. And he would understand that this one night would change his life forever. The night moved slowly in that quiet room. Outside the window, ships passed by like fireflies in the darkness. Inside, sat between two alien women who watched him like he was the most interesting thing in the universe. Lyra poured him a drink from one of the crystal glasses. The liquid inside was blue and glowed softly. Looked at it with worry on his face. "Do not worry," Lyra said with a gentle laugh. "It is safe for humans. It will only make you feel warm and relaxed." Took a small sip. The drink tasted like honey mixed with something he could not name. Warmth spread through his chest immediately. She was right. It did make him feel relaxed. "So," Neva said, moving a little closer to him, "you said you travel alone. Do you not have family waiting for you somewhere?" Shook his head slowly. "My mother died 3 years ago. My father died before her. I have no brothers or sisters. I have no wife or children." He paused and looked down at his hands. "I have no one." The two women looked at each other. That silent communication passed between them again, wondered if they were talking inside their minds. "That is very sad," Lyra said softly. "Among our people, being alone is the worst punishment. We cannot imagine living like that." "I am used to it," said. But even as he spoke, he knew it was a lie. He was not used to it. He would never be used to it. The loneliness ate at him every single day like a disease that never went away. Neva reached out and touched his hand. Her cool fingers wrapped around his warm ones. "Tell us a happy memory," she said. "Tell us something that makes you smile." Closed his eyes and thought. Happy memories were hard to find these days. But then one came to him, floating up from somewhere deep inside. "When I was a child," he began, "my mother used to make a special soup every winter. It was called kimchi. The whole house would smell like it for hours. My father would come home from work and he would always say the same thing. He would say, 'Is that my favorite soup I smell?' And my mother would pretend to be angry. She would say, 'It is not for you. It is for,' but then she would laugh and serve him the biggest bowl." opened his eyes. To his surprise, they were wet with tears he did not remember crying. "I am sorry," he said quickly, wiping his face. "I do not know why I am crying. This is embarrassing." But Lyra and Neva were not looking at him with judgment. They were looking at him with wonder. Their silver eyes were wide and their lips were slightly open. "Do you feel that?" Lyra whispered to Neva. "Yes," Neva whispered back. "I feel it. It is incredible." "Did not understand. Feel what?" Lyra turned to face him fully. Her beautiful face was filled with amazement. "Your emotions," she said. "We can feel them. They are radiating from you like heat from a fire. Among our people, emotions are quiet and small, but yours are like a storm. They are so powerful." Did not know what to say. He had never thought of his emotions as powerful. He had always thought they made him weak. Neva was still holding his hand. She squeezed it gently. "When you talked about your mother and her soup," she said, "we felt everything you felt. The love, the warmth, the sadness of losing her. It was like we were living inside your memory with you." "Is that normal?" asked. "Can you do that with everyone?" Lyra shook her head. "No, with other species we feel almost nothing. Their emotions are too weak, too quiet, but humans are different. Humans feel everything so deeply. We have heard stories, but we did not believe them until now." Looked between the two women. He was starting to understand something important. They had not just been curious about humans. They had been searching for something specific. "Why is this important to you?" he asked. Neva's silver eyes grew sad. She looked down at the floor. "Our people are dying," she said quietly. "Not our bodies. Our bodies are healthy, but our spirits are dying. We have become cold inside, empty. We used to feel joy and love and sadness just like you. But over thousands of years, those feelings have become weaker and weaker." Lyra continued where Neva stopped. "Now most feel almost nothing. We go through life like ghosts. We eat but do not enjoy food. We sleep but do not dream. We exist but do not live." Felt his heart break for them. He could not imagine a life without feeling, without joy or sadness or love. That sounded worse than death. "Why did this happen to your people?" he asked. "We do not know for certain," Lyra said. "Some believe it is evolution, that emotions were too painful so our species slowly lost them. Others believe it was something we did to ourselves long ago, a choice that cannot be undone." "But we can still feel," Neva said. "Just a little, just enough to know what we are missing. And when we are near a human," she paused and looked at with something like hope in her eyes. "When we are near a human like you, we can feel again. Your emotions are so strong that they flow into us. They fill the empty spaces inside us." Understood now. He understood why they had been so eager to meet him, why they had asked him to share his memories. He was like water to someone dying of thirst. "Is that why you work here?" he asked gently. "In this lounge, to find beings who can make you feel?" Lyra nodded. "We have tried many species. Some give us nothing, others give us small drops. But you," she leaned closer to him, her silver eyes shone in the dim light. "You are like an ocean." Did not know how to respond. Part of him felt like he should be uncomfortable. Two beautiful alien women telling him they wanted to feed on his emotions. It sounded like something from a horror movie. But he did not feel uncomfortable. He felt needed. For the first time in years, someone actually needed him, not for his ship or his trading skills or his money. They needed him for who he was inside. "What do you want from me?" he asked softly. Neva looked at Lyra. Lyra looked at Neva. Again, that silent conversation. "We want you to stay with us tonight," Neva said. "Not for physical pleasure, just stay, talk to us. Tell us about your life. Let us feel what you feel. And in return," Lyra added, "we will make sure you are not lonely, not tonight." Thought about his empty ship waiting at the dock. He thought about the silence that would welcome him back. He thought about 6 more months of traveling alone through cold space. "Okay," he said, "I will stay." Lyra smiled. It was the most beautiful smile had ever seen. Neva made a sound of happiness that was almost like a purr. They spent the next several hours talking, told them everything. He told them about Earth and its blue oceans. He told them about his childhood home and the tree in the backyard where he used to climb. He told them about his first love, a girl named who broke his heart when he was 17. He told them about his parents and how much he missed them. With every story, the two women seemed to come more alive. Colors appeared in their cheeks. Their movements became more animated. Their laughter became louder and more genuine. Realized he was giving them something precious, and they were giving him something precious in return. They were giving him a connection, a reason to feel human again. When the station's artificial dawn began to light the window, was exhausted but happy. He had not talked this much in years. His throat was sore and his eyes were heavy with sleep. But as he began to stand up, ready to leave, two hands grabbed his arms and pulled him back down. "Wait," Lyra said. There was something desperate in her voice. "Please wait." Neva was holding his other arm. Her silver eyes were wide with fear. "Do not go," she pleaded. "Not yet, please." Looked at them with confusion. "But the night is over. I paid for one night and the night is over." Lyra shook her head quickly. "We do not care about the money. Keep it. We do not want your money. We want you to stay." Felt something strange happening. The two women who had seemed so calm and graceful all night were now trembling. They were holding onto him like he was the last lifeboat on a sinking ship. "I do not understand," he said. Neva took a deep breath. When she spoke, her voice was shaking. "When you leave," she said, "we will become empty again. The feelings you gave us tonight, they will fade, and we will be ghosts again, cold and empty and dead inside." Tears began to fall from her silver eyes. Had not known that could cry, but apparently when they felt enough emotion, they could. "Please," Lyra whispered, "please do not leave us. Not yet, not ever." Stared at them both. He had come here looking for one night of company. He had found something else entirely. He had found two souls who needed him more than anyone had ever needed him before. And he did not know what to do about it. Sat frozen on the cushion. Two beautiful alien women were crying and holding onto him like their lives depended on it. He had never experienced anything like this before. No one had ever needed him this desperately. "Please say something," Lyra whispered. Her tears left silver tracks on her purple skin. Opened his mouth, but no words came out. His mind was racing in 1,000 different directions. Part of him wanted to stay. These women had given him the best night he had experienced in years, but another part of him remembered his ship, his life, his responsibilities. I do not know what to say," he finally admitted. Neva loosened her grip on his arm but did not let go completely. She wiped her tears with her free hand. "We are sorry," she said. "We did not mean to frighten you. It is just. We have never felt like this before, not in our entire lives." Lyra nodded in agreement. "When we were young, our elders told us stories about the old days, days when our people could feel like you do. We thought those stories were just fairy tales. We never believed we would experience real emotions for ourselves. But tonight you changed that," Neva continued. "Tonight you showed us what it means to truly feel, and now you want to leave and take it all away." Felt his chest tighten. He understood their pain. He really did, but he also felt confused and overwhelmed. "Can I ask you something?" he said gently. Both women nodded. "What exactly do you want from me? You said you want me to stay, but for how long? Forever?" The two looked at each other. That silent communication passed between them once more. Wondered if he would ever understand how they did that. "We do not know," Lyra admitted honestly. "We had not thought that far ahead. We only knew that when you started to leave, it felt like we were dying, like all the light in the universe was going away." "Maybe we are being foolish," Neva added. "We are two alien women you just met. You paid for our company like any other customer. We have no right to ask anything of you." shook his head slowly. Do not say that. This night was not. It was not just a business transaction, at least not to me. You two made me feel human again. You listened to my stories. You cared about my feelings. That means something. Lyra's eyes brightened slightly. Then you will stay. I did not say that, said carefully. I said that tonight meant something, but I have a life outside this room. I have a ship. I have deliveries to make. People are counting on me. What people? Neva asked. You said you have no family, no friends. The words stung because they were true. Had customers, yes. Business contacts. But none of them would notice if he disappeared tomorrow. None of them would mourn if his ship crashed into an asteroid. You are right, he said quietly. I have no people, but I have a routine. I have a life, even if it is a lonely one. I cannot just throw it away because of one magical night. Lyra released his arm and sat back. The desperate energy was leaving her body. She looked tired and sad. We understand, she said. We were wrong to pressure you. You owe us nothing. Neva also let go of his arm. She wrapped her arms around herself like she was cold. Before you leave, Neva said, can we ask one more thing? Nodded. Can you tell us one more story? One more memory to keep us warm after you are gone? Looked at these two women. They were so beautiful, so sad, so desperately hopping for something he could give them. How could he say no? Okay, he said, one more story. He thought for a moment, then he began. When I was 12 years old, my grandmother was dying. She was very old, over 90 years. She lived alone in a small house in the mountains. My parents sent me to stay with her for her final weeks. Lyra and Neva leaned closer, their silver eyes focused entirely on him. I was scared, continued. I had never seen anyone die before. I did not know what to say to her. I did not know how to act, so I just sat with her every day. I held her hand. I read her stories from old books. I made her tea that she could barely drink. His voice began to shake. This was a memory he had buried deep inside for many years. On her last night, she woke up suddenly. Her eyes were clear for the first time in weeks. She looked at me and smiled. She said, "Do you know why I am not afraid to die?" Tears started falling down his cheeks. He did not try to stop them. I said no. I asked her why, and she said, because you are here with me. As long as someone you love is with you, there is nothing to fear, not even death. He paused to take a shaky breath. She died that night. I was holding her hand when it happened. I felt the moment when she left. 1 second she was there, warm and alive. The next second she was gone, but she was smiling. She was at peace. The room was completely silent. Wiped his face with the back of his hand. He felt empty and full at the same time, like he had just poured out a piece of his soul. When he looked at Lyra and Neva, he was shocked by what he saw. Both women were crying freely now, but it was not just tears. Their entire bodies seemed to be glowing with a soft purple light. They were trembling, but not from cold or fear. They were trembling from the overwhelming force of the emotions flooding through them. This, Lyra whispered in a voice full of wonder. This is what it feels like. This is what love feels like. This is what grief feels like. They are so big. They are so beautiful. Neva was crying so hard she could barely speak. I understand now, she said between sobs. I understand why your grandmother was not afraid, because love is bigger than death. Love is bigger than everything. Watched them experience something that should have been normal but was clearly miraculous for their species. He had given them a gift without even trying, just by being himself, just by feeling the things that humans feel. This is incredible, Lyra said, looking at her own glowing hands. I have never felt so alive. I have never felt so real. Neva moved closer too. Before he could react, she threw her arms around him and hugged him tightly. Her body was cool against his, but the embrace was warm in a way that had nothing to do with temperature. Thank you, she whispered in his ear. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lyra joined the hug from the other side. sat there, surrounded by two alien women, feeling their bodies shake with emotions they had never experienced before. And something changed inside him. He had spent so many years alone, so many years believing that his feelings were a weakness, that being emotional made him less of a person, but now he saw the truth. His emotions were not a weakness. They were a strength. They were a gift that most species in the galaxy could only dream of having. And these two women, these beautiful, had shown him that truth. "I will stay," he heard himself say. Lyra and Neva pulled back to look at him. Their glowing faces were full of hope. "What did you say?" Lyra asked. "I said I will stay," repeated. "Not forever, I cannot promise forever, but I will stay for a while, for as long as you need me." Neva started crying again, but this time they were tears of joy. Could feel the happiness radiating from her, even though he did not have their empathic abilities. "You mean it?" she asked. "You will really stay?" Nodded, "Yes, but I have one condition." Both women tensed slightly. "What condition?" "I will not be a customer," said firmly. "If I stay as a friend, or something else. I do not know what to call it, but not a customer. This is not business anymore. This is something real." Lyra smiled through her tears. It was the most beautiful thing had ever seen. "We agree," she said. "You are not a customer, you never were. From the moment you walked into that lounge, we knew you were different. We knew you were special." Neva took his hand in both of hers. "We will take care of you," she promised. "We will make sure you are never lonely again, and in return, I will teach you how to feel," finished for her. "I will share every emotion I have, every happy memory and every sad one, every dream and every fear." "That sounds perfect," Neva said softly. The three of them sat there together as the station's artificial sun rose higher. A new day was beginning. A new chapter of their lives was starting. Did not know what the future would hold. He did not know if this strange relationship could work. He did not know if he was making the biggest mistake of his life or the best decision of his life. But for the first time in years, he felt something he had forgotten existed. He felt hope. 3 days passed on station. 3 days that felt like 3 years. 3 days that changed life in ways he never expected. He had moved out of the small room in the lounge. Lyra and Neva had a small apartment in the residential section of the station. It was not fancy, but it was clean and comfortable. They invited him to stay there, and he accepted. The apartment had 2 bedrooms. Slept in one while the women shared the other. During the day, they spent most of their time together in the main living area. They talked, they ate, they watched ships come and go through the large window. Every conversation seemed to mean something. Every shared meal felt like a celebration. Had forgotten what it was like to have companionship, and now he was drowning in it. On the morning of the 4th day, reality came knocking at their door. It was literally a knock at the door. Was eating breakfast when the sound made all 3 of them jump. Lyra went to answer it. When she opened the door, she stepped back quickly. Her face went pale. "Manager," she said in a nervous voice, "we were not expecting you." A large figure pushed into the apartment without being invited. It was the gray-skinned alien from the lounge, the one who had introduced to Lyra and Neva. Up close, he was even more intimidating. His body was thick with muscle, and his small black eyes were cold and calculating. "I was not expecting to be here either," manager said. His deep voice filled the small apartment. "But then I noticed something strange. 2 of my best workers have not shown up for 3 days. No message, no explanation, just gone." Neva stood up from her seat. "Manager, we can explain." "Can you?" the gray alien turned his attention to. His eyes narrowed. "And who is this human? The same human who paid for 1 night with you. The same human who never came back for his refund after only using 2 hours. Felt his face grow hot. He stood up slowly, trying not to show fear. "My name is," he said. "I am a trader. I've been staying here as a guest." Manager laughed. It was not a friendly sound. "A guest," he repeated. "How nice. While you have been playing house with my workers, I have been losing money. Do you know how much these two earn for me in a single night? More than your little ship is worth." Felt anger rising in his chest. He did not like the way this alien spoke about Lyra and Neva, like they were products instead of people. "They are not your property," said firmly. The room went silent. Even Lyra and Neva seemed shocked by his words. Manager turned to face fully. He was at least a foot taller and probably 5 times stronger. One punch from his massive fist could break every bone in his body. "What did you say, human?" Swallowed hard but did not back down. "I said they are not your property. They are people. They have the right to decide what they do with their lives." Manager studied for a long moment. Then slowly, a cruel smile spread across his gray face. "I see," he said. "The human has feelings for my girls. How touching, how romantic, how incredibly stupid." He turned to Lyra and Neva. "You two signed contracts when you came to work for me, 3-year contracts. You still have 18 months left. If you break those contracts, you know what happens." Neva's face went white. Lyra grabbed her hand. "What happens?" asked. Manager smiled wider. "I own their debt. Their travel debt, their housing debt, their food debt. If they break their contracts, I can claim everything they have. I can have them arrested. I can sell their debt to collectors who are far less pleasant than I am." Felt sick. He had heard about systems like this. Debt bondage, some people called it. It was illegal on Earth, but out here in deep space, the laws were different. "How much?" he asked. Everyone looked at him. "How much do they owe you, total?" Manager raised one thick eyebrow. "Why? Are you thinking about paying it?" "Just tell me the number." The gray alien laughed again. "For both of them, 50,000 credits, give or take." 50,000 credits. That was more money than had ever seen in his life. It would take him years of trading to earn that much. "I do not have that much," admitted. "Of course you do not," Manager said. "You are a poor human trader with a rusty old ship. You probably have trouble paying for fuel." He walked toward the door, then stopped and turned back. "Here is what is going to happen. These two are going to come back to work tonight, and tomorrow night, and every night until their contracts are finished. And you, human, are going to get back on your pathetic ship and fly away. Do we understand each other?" Wanted to fight. He wanted to scream. He wanted to punch this smug alien in his ugly gray face, but he knew he could not win this fight with violence. "We understand," he said quietly. Manager nodded. "Good, I will see you two at work tonight." He walked out and slammed the door behind him. The moment he was gone, Neva collapsed onto the floor. Lyra knelt beside her, holding her close. Both of them were crying again, but not tears of joy this time. Stood there feeling helpless, feeling useless, feeling like the biggest fool in the galaxy. "I am sorry," he said. The words felt pathetic and small. Lyra looked up at him. Her silver eyes were red from crying. "This is not your fault," she said. "We knew this could happen. We knew there would be consequences, but we did not care. These past few days with you were worth any punishment." "She is right," Neva said through her tears. "I do not regret anything. For the first time in my life, I know what it feels like to be truly alive, even if it only lasted a few days." Shook his head. "No, this is not over. There has to be a way." "There is no way," Lyra said gently. "We cannot pay the debt. We cannot run from it. And we cannot ask you to stay and suffer with us." "So that is it," felt frustrated. "We just give up, we accept defeat." Neva managed a small smile. "This is another human trait, yes. The refusal to surrender, the belief that every problem has a solution." "Yes," said, "we call it stubbornness, or sometimes we call it hope." He began packing around the small apartment. His mind was racing, searching for options. 50,000 credits, he muttered. That is a lot of money, but not impossible. I know traders who make that much in a year. The right cargo, the right route. Lyra stood up. Even if you could earn that money, it would take you years. Manager will not wait years. He wants us back tonight. Then I need to find another way, said. He stopped packing and looked out the window. Ships were moving around the station, coming and going. Each one represented someone trying to make money, trying to survive, trying to find their place in the universe. And then an idea hit him. A crazy, dangerous, possibly stupid idea. I know a way, he said slowly, but you are not going to like it. Lyra and Neva both looked at him. What way? Neva asked. Turned to face them. His eyes were burning with determination. There is a region of space called the Void Path. It is a shortcut through a dangerous nebula. Most traders avoid it because the radiation plays havoc with navigation systems. Ships get lost in there all the time. That sounds terrible, Lyra said. Why are you telling us this? Because the traders who make it through the Void Path can cut their delivery times in half. And there is a delivery right now, sitting in the station's cargo bay, that pays 100,000 credits. The catch is that it needs to arrive at Sierra Prime in 10 days. The normal route takes 3 weeks, but through the Void Path. You could make it in 10 days, Neva finished. Her eyes went wide. That is suicide. You said ships get lost in there. Some ships, corrected. Ships with weak navigation systems. Ships with pilots who do not know what they are doing. My ship is old, but she is solid. And I know the Void Path. My father made the run twice before he died. He taught me the tricks. Lyra stepped closer to him. You would risk your life for us, for 2 alien women you barely know. Looked at her, really looked at her. Then he looked at Neva. These 2 women had given him something priceless. They had made him feel human again. They had made him feel wanted. They had made him feel alive. Yes, he said simply, I would. Neva started crying again. But this time there was something else in her tears, something that looked like love. You are insane, she said. You are absolutely insane. Probably, admitted. But that is another human trait, is it not? Doing crazy things for the people we care about. Lyra grabbed his hand. Her grip was tight and desperate. If you do this, she said, if you survive and come back, we will never leave your side. We will follow you anywhere. To any world, any star, any corner of the galaxy. Do you understand? Nodded slowly. I understand. Then go, Lyra said. Go now before manager realizes what you are doing. We will stall him as long as we can. Took one last look at the 2 women who had changed his life. Then he turned and walked toward the door. Neva called out. He stopped and looked back. Come back to us, she said. Please come back to us. Smiled. It was a confident smile, a brave smile, even though he was terrified inside. I will, he promised. I will always come back to you. And then he was gone, running through the station toward his ship, toward the most dangerous journey of his life. The blue wind shot through space like a bullet. Inside the cockpit, gripped the controls with white knuckles. He had been flying for 8 days now. 8 days of constant danger. 8 days of fighting through the deadly Void Path. The nebula around him glowed with strange purple and green lights. Radiation storms crackled in every direction. His navigation system screamed warnings at him every few minutes. Several times he had come close to losing his way completely, but somehow he kept pushing forward. His father's voice echoed in his memory. The Void Path does not want to kill you, son. It just wants to confuse you. Trust your instincts, trust your ship, trust yourself. Had never trusted himself, not really. He had always seen himself as ordinary, unremarkable, just another human drifting through a galaxy full of wonders. But now, flying through certain death to save 2 women who had shown him what it meant to feel alive, he finally understood something important. Humans were not ordinary. Humans were extraordinary. On the 9th day, emerged from the void path. His ship was damaged. His body was exhausted, but he was alive and Sierra Prime was just 1 day away. He made the delivery with 6 hours to spare. The client, a wealthy merchant, transferred 100,000 credits to his account without question, had never seen so many zeros on a screen before. He did not celebrate. He did not rest. He immediately turned his ship around and set course back to station. The return journey took 2 weeks through normal space, 2 weeks of waiting and worrying, 2 weeks of hopping that Lyra and Neva were okay, that manager had not done anything terrible to them. When Station finally appeared in his window, felt tears streaming down his face. He had made it. He had actually made it. He docked his ship and practically ran through the station. His legs were weak from weeks of sitting. His body was thin from stress and poor nutrition, but nothing could slow him down. He burst into manager's lounge like a storm. The gray alien looked up from his counter with surprise and then anger on his face. "You," manager growled. "I thought you ran away like a coward. Where are my workers? They have been refusing to work, waiting for you to come back. Do you know how much money I have lost?" Walked straight up to the counter. He slammed his credit chip down on the surface. 50,000 credits, he said. "That is what you said their debt was. There is more than that on this chip. Take it. Their contracts are finished." Manager's eyes went wide. He picked up the chip and scanned it. When he saw the number, his gray face turned a shade lighter. "How did you?" he started to ask. "That does not matter," interrupted. "Take the money, release them now." Manager stared at the chip for a long moment. Then, slowly, he began to laugh. It was a different laugh than before. This one had respect in it. "You went through the void path," he said. "You crazy human, you actually went through the void path for them." Did not answer, he just waited. Manager shook his head in disbelief. "I have lived for 200 years. I have met thousands of different species, but I have never met anyone as foolish or as brave as humans." He pressed some buttons on his console. "Their debts are paid. Their contracts are void. They are free." Grabbed the chip back. There was still money left on it, enough to get them somewhere safe, enough to start a new life. "Where are they?" he asked. "In the back," manager said. "They have been sleeping there waiting for you. I did not have the heart to throw them out." He paused and looked at with something like curiosity. "You really do love them, do you not?" Did not hesitate. "Yes, I do." He walked past the counter and through the door to the back rooms. His heart was pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. What if they had changed their minds? What if they did not want him anymore? What if? The door opened, and all his worries disappeared. Lyra and Neva were sitting together on a small bed. They looked tired and thin, like they had not been eating well. But when they saw standing in the doorway, their faces transformed. "Ta!" Neva screamed. She launched herself at him so hard that they both fell to the ground. Lyra was right behind her, throwing her arms around both of them. The three of them lay there in a tangled pile, laughing and crying at the same time. It was messy and chaotic and absolutely perfect. "You came back," Lyra kept saying. "You actually came back." "I promised I would," said. "Humans always keep their promises. Well, mostly." Neva pulled back to look at his face. Her silver eyes were overflowing with tears of joy. "You did it," she whispered. "You really did it. Manager told us about the void path. He said no one survives that route. He said you were as good as dead." "He was wrong," said with a smile. "It turns out I am harder to kill than I look." Lyra helped them all stand up. She was trembling, but not from cold or fear. She was trembling from the overwhelming emotions flowing through her. "What happens now?" she asked. Took one of her hands. Then he took one of Neva's hands. "Now," he said, "we leave this place. I have money, I have a ship. And most importantly, I have you too. We can go anywhere, do anything. The whole galaxy is open to us." "But where do we go?" Neva asked. Thought about it. He thought about Earth, his original home. He thought about Sierra Prime, He thought about all the countless planets and stations scattered across the stars. "Does it matter?" he finally asked. "As long as we are together, any place can be home." Lyra and Neva looked at each other. That silent communication passed between them one more time, but this time understood it. It was love, pure and simple love. "Then let us go," Lyra said. "Let us fly away and never look back." 1 hour later, the blue wind departed from station. But this time was not alone in the cockpit. Lyra sat in the co-pilot seat, learning how to read the navigation charts. Neva sat behind them, watching the stars go by with wonder in her silver eyes. "Where should we go first?" asked. "Somewhere warm," Neva suggested, "with beaches and blue water, like the oceans you told us about on Earth." "I know a planet like that," said. "It is called Haven. 3 days from here, they have the most beautiful sunsets in the galaxy." "Then let us go there," Lyra said. "I want to see a beautiful sunset with you." Set the course and engage the engines. The blue wind leaped forward into the endless darkness of space. But for the first time, that darkness did not feel cold or empty too. It felt full of possibility, full of adventure, full of hope. He reached out and took Lyra's hand. She squeezed back gently. She said softly, "Can I tell you something?" "Of course." "When we first met you in that lounge, we thought we were saving ourselves. We thought we were using your emotions to fill the emptiness inside us." She paused and smiled. "But now I realize we were wrong. You were not filling our emptiness. You were teaching us how to fill it ourselves." Looked at her with confusion. "What do you mean?" Neva leaned forward from her seat. "She means that we have been changed forever. Before you, we could only feel when we were near a human, but now," she held up her hand. It was glowing softly with purple light. "Now we feel all the time. Your love unlocked something inside us, something we thought was lost forever." Stared at the glowing light in amazement. "Is this permanent?" "We do not know," Lyra admitted. "But we hope so. We hope that your gift will last forever." Felt tears building in his eyes again. He seemed to be crying a lot these days, but he did not mind. After years of emptiness, it felt good to feel so much. "This is what humans do," he said quietly. "We share ourselves with others, our emotions, our experiences, our love. It is not something we can turn off or control. It just happens naturally." "Then humans are the most precious species in the galaxy," Neva said. "Your emotions are not a weakness. They are your greatest strength. They are a gift you give to everyone you meet." Had never thought about it that way before. He had spent so many years feeling ashamed of his emotions, feeling like they made him less capable, less rational, less worthy. But now he understood the truth. His emotions were what made him human. And being human, truly human, was something rare and beautiful in a galaxy full of cold, empty spaces. He looked out at the stars stretching endlessly before them. He looked at the 2 women who had chosen to stay by his side. He thought about the life they would build together, full of adventure and love and laughter. "Hey," he said suddenly, "I never asked you, what does my emotional energy actually feel like to you?" Lyra and Neva both smiled. It was the most beautiful sight had ever seen. "It feels like coming home," Lyra said. "It feels like warmth on a cold night," Neva added. "It feels like hope," they said together. "It feels like hope." Nodded and turned back to face the stars. "Then I will keep giving you hope," he promised, "every day for as long as I live." And together, the 3 of them flew on into the endless universe, carrying the light of human emotion into the darkest corners of space. This was not the end of their story. It was only the beginning.